Life ain't easy. It's tough. It's rough. And sometimes it feels like the whole world is against you. But let me tell you something. That's when you got to be tougher. That's when you got to stand tall and walk your own path. You see, in this world, there are followers and there are leaders. There are those who blend in with the crowd, and then there are the lone wolves, the ones who aren't afraid to stand out, to go their own way. And let me tell you, being a lone wolf, it ain't for the faint of heart, but you've got what it takes. You've got that fire in your belly, that spark in your eye. You're not made to follow the herd. You're made to carve your own trail. Think about it. Every great person in history, every innovator, every game changer, they didn't get there by following the crowd. They got there by having the guts to go their own way, to think differently, to act differently, to be different. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Walking alone ain't easy. It's going to be hard. There'll be days when you feel lost, when you feel like giving up, days when the path ahead seems too steep, too rocky. But those are the days that'll make you stronger. Those are the days that'll shape you into the person you're meant to be. You see, when you walk alone, you learn to rely on yourself. You learn to trust your instincts, to believe in your own abilities. You learn that you're capable of so much more than you ever thought possible. And let me tell you something else. When you walk alone, you walk faster. You're not held back by anyone else's doubts or fears. You're not slowed down by someone else's pace. You set your own rhythm. You march to the beat of your own drum. But here's the thing. Walking alone doesn't mean you're lonely. It doesn't mean you're cut off from the world. It means you're strong enough to stand on your own 2 feet. It means you're brave enough to follow your own path, even when everyone else is going the other way. You got to understand, the world needs lone wolves. The world needs people who aren't afraid to think differently, to challenge the status quo, because that's how progress happens. That's how we move forward as a society. So don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to stand out. Embrace your uniqueness, your individuality. That's your strength. That's your power. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what about teamwork? What about community? And you're right, those things are important. But here's the truth. The strongest teams, the most powerful communities, they're made up of individuals who know how to stand on their own, who bring their own unique strengths to the table. You see, being a lone wolf doesn't mean you're against everyone else. It means you're strong enough to bring something unique to the pack. It means you've got the courage to lead when others are afraid to step up. So how do you walk alone like a lone wolf? It starts with believing in yourself. It starts with having the courage to follow your own path, even when it's not the easy one. First off, you got to know who you are. You got to understand your own strengths, your own weaknesses. You got to be honest with yourself. Because when you're walking alone, you can't afford to lie to yourself. Not your gestures. You got to face the truth head on. Next, you got to have a vision. You got to know where you're going. Because when you're walking alone, there's no one else to guide you. You got to be your own compass. You got to set your own destination. And let me tell you, that vision, it's got to be big. It's got to be bold. It's got to be something that scares you a little. Because if your dreams don't scare you, they ain't big enough. But here's the thing. Having a vision ain't enough. You got to be willing to work for it. You got to be willing to put in the hours, to make the sacrifices. Because success, it ain't handed to you on a silver platter. You got to earn it. You got to fight for it. And when I say fight, I mean it. You got to be willing to fight through the tough times, to push through when everything in you is screaming to give up. Because that's what separates the lone wolves from the rest of the pack. That's what makes you a leader. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There'll be days when you feel like you're walking through a storm. Days when the wind is howling and the rain is beating down on you. But you know what? Those are the days that'll make you stronger. Those are the days that'll shape you into the person you're meant to be. You see adversity? It's a gift. It's life's way of testing you, of pushing you to your limits. And when you're walking alone, you got to learn to embrace that adversity. You got to learn to use it as fuel for your fire. Because here's the truth. The tougher the journey, the stronger you become. The harder the fight, the sweeter the victory. So don't shy away from the challenges. Don't run from the hard times. Face them head on. Embrace them. Use them to make yourself better. And let me tell you something else. When you're walking alone, you got to learn to trust your instincts. You got to learn to listen to that little voice inside you, because when you're forging your own path, there's no roadmap. There's no guidebook. You got to rely on your gut. But here's the thing. Trusting your instincts doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean ignoring good advice or valuable feedback. It means weighing all the options, considering all the angles, and then making the decision that feels right to you. And sometimes that decision might not make sense to anyone else. Sometimes it might seem crazy. But you know what? Every great achievement in history started with an idea that seemed crazy at the time. So don't be afraid to think differently. Don't be afraid to go against the grain, because that's where innovation happens. That's where breakthroughs are made. Now, I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. Being a lone wolf, it takes courage, it takes strength, but you know what it takes most of all? It takes self-love. Yeah, you heard me right. Self-love. Because when you're walking alone, you got to be your own biggest fan. You got to be your own cheerleader. You got to believe in yourself even when no one else does. And let me tell you, that ain't always easy. There'll be days when you doubt yourself, days when you question your choices, your abilities. But those are the days when you got to dig deep. Those are the days when you got to remind yourself of your worth, of your potential. Because here's the truth. You are capable of greatness. You are capable of achieving things beyond your wildest dreams. But you got to believe it. You got to feel it in your bones. So every morning, I want you to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am strong. I am capable. I am worthy. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it becomes a part of who you are. And you know what? The more you believe in yourself, the more others will believe in you too. Because confidence, it's contagious. It's magnetic. When you walk with your head held high, when you move with purpose, people notice. They're drawn to you. But here's the thing. You can't let that validation from others define you. You can't let it become your source of strength. Because when you're walking alone like a lone wolf, you got to be your own source of strength. You got to be your own rock. Fear. Because when you're walking alone, fear is going to be your constant companion. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of making the wrong choice. But here's what you got to understand. Fear is just a feeling. It's not a fact. It's not reality. It's just your mind trying to protect you from potential harm. And while that's important, sometimes it can also hold you back. So instead of letting fear paralyze you, use it. Use it as a compass. Because often, the things we're most afraid of are the things we need to do most, the things that'll help us grow, that'll push us to new heights. When you feel that fear creeping in, when you feel that doubt starting to take hold, take a deep breath. Remind yourself why you started this journey in the first place. Remind yourself of your vision, of your goals. And then take a step forward, even if it's a small step, even if you're shaking, because every step forward is a victory. Every step forward is proof that you're stronger than your fears. Now, I'm going to tell you something that might seem contradictory. Even though you're walking alone, you got to build a support system. You got to surround yourself with people who believe in you, who support your vision. Because here's the truth. Even lone wolves need a pack sometimes. Not to follow, but to run alongside, to challenge them, to push them to be better. So find your tribe. Find those people who get you, who understand your vision. They might be few and far between, but they're out there. And when you find them, hold on to them, because those relationships, they're gold. But remember, your support system is there to lift you up, not to carry you. They're there to cheer you on, not to do the work for you. At the end of the day, this is your journey, your path. You're the one who's got to walk it. And let me tell you, that path, it ain't going to be straight. It ain't going to be smooth. There's going to be twists and turns. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be times when you feel like you're going backwards instead of forwards. But you know what? That's okay, because life ain't about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about who you become along the way. So embrace the detours, embrace the setbacks, because each one is a chance to learn, to grow, to become stronger. And here's something else. When you're walking alone, you got to learn to celebrate your victories, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Because when you're forging your own path, there's no one else there to pat you on the back. You got to be your own cheerleader. So when you achieve something, no matter how small, take a moment to acknowledge it, to feel proud of yourself, to remind yourself that you're making progress, that you're moving forward. But don't let those victories make you complacent. Don't let them make you soft. Use them as fuel to push yourself even harder, to reach even higher. Because here's the thing. Success is a moving target. The moment you think you've reached it, it moves. So you got to keep pushing, keep striving, keep growing. Now, I'm going to tell you something that might be hard to hear. When you choose to walk alone, when you choose to be a lone wolf, some people ain't going to understand. Some people are going to criticize you. Some people are going to try to bring you down. And you know what? That's okay, because their opinion of you is none of your business. Their doubts, their criticisms, that's about them, not about you. So don't waste your energy trying to prove them wrong. Don't waste your time trying to make them understand. Use that energy to push yourself forward. Use that time to work on your goals, because at the end of the day, the only person you need to prove anything to is yourself. The only opinion that truly matters is your own. And let me tell you something else. When you're walking alone, when you're forging your own path, you got to be willing to make tough decisions. You got to be willing to cut ties with people, with situations, with habits that are holding you back. Because here's the truth. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Not everything in your life right now is meant to be a part of your future. So be willing to let go. Be willing to move on. It might be hard. It might be painful, but sometimes you got to leave behind what's comfortable to reach what's meant for you. Now, I want you to understand something. Walking alone like a lone wolf doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It doesn't mean you're above others. It just means you're different. It means you've chosen a different path. So don't look down on those who choose to follow. Don't judge those who prefer the safety of the crowd, because everyone's journey is different. Everyone's path is unique. Instead, use your strength, your independence to lift others up. Use your courage to inspire others, because true strength, it's not about how many people you can dominate. It's about how many people you can empower. And let me tell you, when you start lifting others up, when you start using your strength to make a difference, that's when you truly become unstoppable. That's when you truly become a leader. Because here's the thing, leadership ain't about having followers. It's about creating other leaders. It's about inspiring others to find their own path, to walk their own journey. So as you walk alone, as you forge your own path, always remember your journey ain't just about you. It's about the impact you make. It's about the lives you touch. It's about the difference you make in this world. Now I want you to understand something. This journey you're on, it ain't going to be a straight line. It's going to be a winding road. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be twists and turns. Some days you're going to feel on top of the world. You're going to feel invincible, like nothing can stop you. Other days you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel scared. You're going to wonder if you made the right choice. But here's what I want you to remember. Those low moments, they're just as important as the high ones, maybe even more important, because those are the moments that shape you. Those are the moments that test you. And let me tell you something. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. It's about how you handle those low moments, how you push through when everything in you is screaming to give up. Because that's what separates the lone wolves from the rest of the pack. That's what makes you a leader. The ability to keep going when the going gets tough. The strength to stand tall when everything around you is crumbling. So when those tough times come, and they will come, I want you to remember why you started this journey in the first place. Remember your vision. Remember your goals. Let that be your North Star. Let that guide you through the storm. And here's something else I want you to remember. Your worth ain't determined by your success. Your value as a person ain't measured by your achievements. You are worthy. You are valuable simply because you exist. So don't tie your self-worth to your accomplishments. Don't let your failures define you, because you are so much more than your successes or your failures. You are a human being with infinite potential, with immeasurable worth. Because when you're walking alone, when you're forging your own path, time becomes your most valuable resource. And let me tell you, it's the one thing you can't get back. So use it wisely, every minute, every hour, every day. Make it count. Don't waste your time on things that don't matter. Don't spend your energy on people who don't value. Instead, invest your time in yourself, in your growth, in your dreams. Because every moment you spend working towards your goals is a moment well spent. But here's the thing. It's not just about working hard. It's about working smart. It's about finding that balance between pushing yourself and taking care of yourself. Because let me tell you something. Burnout is real. And when you're walking alone, when you don't have anyone to share the load, it's easy to push yourself too hard. It's easy to forget to take care of yourself. So remember to rest, remember to recharge. Take time to do things that bring you joy, that feed your soul. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give your best if you're running on empty. And you know what? Taking time for yourself ain't selfish. It's necessary. It's what allows you to keep going, to keep pushing forward. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial when you're walking alone: adaptability. Because here's the truth. The world is constantly changing. And if you want to succeed, you got to be able to change with it. So be flexible. Be open to new ideas, new ways of doing things. Don't get so set in your ways that you miss out on opportunities. Don't let your pride or your ego stop you from learning, from growing, because the most successful lone wolves, they're not just strong, they're not just brave. They're adaptable. They're able to adjust their course when needed, to pivot when circumstances change. And let me tell you, that ability to adapt, it's what's going to keep you going when others give up. It's what's going to help you thrive in a world that's constantly changing. It's what's going to set you apart from the crowd. Because here's the thing, the world doesn't stand still for anyone. It doesn't care about your plans or your expectations. It moves forward relentlessly. And it's up to you to keep up. So stay hungry, stay curious, never stop learning, never stop growing. Because the moment you think you know it all, that's the moment you start falling behind. Read books, listen to podcasts, talk to people who think differently than you do. Expose yourself to new ideas, new perspectives, because you never know where next big breakthrough is going to come from. And remember, adapting doesn't mean compromising who you are or what you believe in. It means being smart enough to recognize when something isn't working and brave enough to try something new. It means being able to look at a situation from different angles, to see opportunities where others see obstacles. It means being willing to take calculated risks, to step out of your comfort zone. Because let me tell you something, growth happens outside your comfort zone. That's where the magic happens. That's where you discover what you're truly capable of. So don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to fail, because every failure is a lesson. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. And when you're walking alone, when you're forging your own path, those lessons, they're invaluable. They're what's going to shape you, what's going to mold you into the person you're meant to be. Now, I want to talk about something that's often overlooked when we talk about success, gratitude. Because when you're focused on your goals, when you're pushing yourself to be better, it's easy to forget to be thankful for what you already have. But gratitude, it's powerful, it's transformative. It can change your entire perspective, your entire outlook on life. So take time each day to be grateful. Grateful for your strengths, grateful for your struggles, grateful for the people who support you, and yes, even grateful for those who doubt you, because each one of them plays a part in your journey. And let me tell you, when you approach life with gratitude, it changes everything. It makes the good times sweeter and the tough times more bearable. It gives you strength when you're weak, hope when you're discouraged. Because here's the truth, no matter how tough things get, there's always something to be grateful for, always something to appreciate. And when you focus on those things, when you cultivate that attitude of gratitude, it gives you the strength to keep going. Now, as we're wrapping up, I want to leave you with this thought. Walking alone like a lone wolf isn't about isolation. It isn't about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about having the courage to be true to yourself, to follow your own path, even when it's not the easy one. It's about being strong enough to stand on your own, but wise enough to know when to reach out for help. It's about being confident in your abilities, but humble enough to keep learning, keep growing. So as you go forward, as you continue on your journey, remember, you've got what it takes. You've got the strength, the courage, the determination to achieve great things. But more than that, you've got the power to make a difference, to leave your mark on this world, to inspire others to find their own path, to walk their own journey. So go out there and be the lone wolf you were meant to be. Be brave, be strong, be true to yourself, and never ever give up on your dreams. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Not just achieving success, but becoming the best version of yourself, making a difference in your own life and in the lives of others. So walk tall, walk proud, and always remember, you're not just walking alone. You're blazing a trail for others to follow. You're showing the world what's possible when you have the courage to be yourself, to follow your own path. That's the power of walking alone like a lone wolf. That's the power you hold within you. Now go out there and show the world what you're made of. Your journey starts now.